A service desk is the single point of contact between your users in your organization and IT. It's the window to IT. It is that bridge between the service provider organization and the business itself. Now, I want to take you back to the definition of a service in IT. And a service is a means of delivering value by facilitating outcomes that our customers want to achieve without the ownership of specific costs and risks. So we're delivering value. Now, bearing in mind that, of course, when we look at value, we talk about value as being perceived. Value is a mixture of both outcomes that are facilitated and preferences and perceptions as well. So what's that got to do with the service desk? Well, quite frankly, the service desk is quite often the only part of IT, the IT service provider, that the business sees. Yes, the organisation should see the business relationship manager around in that environment. But I wonder how many of our organisation actually believe that the BRM is part of the business and is not actually part of IT. And how many of our organisation, how many users actually realise that they're using our services? I know that that sounds crazy, okay? But you never really notice your technology until it goes wrong. It's true, you just expect it to work. You never open up your laptop or turn on your cell phone and say, oh wow, this is absolutely fantastic, isn't it wonderful? I'm so lucky and I'm so grateful that I've got this piece of technology. No, you don't. The only time you ever notice your technology and the only time you ever notice your services is when something goes wrong. Oh my goodness, I can't believe that that's not working right now. Oh, look at this, I've just blue screened, or it's just locked on me. And so what happens is that you contact the service desk. And so the service desk in most users' eyes is IT. And the service desk is that window into IT. It's the only interaction with IT that they get. They don't perceive using the laptop or the desktop or the phone as an interaction with IT. That's just part of their day-to-day work. Their interaction with IT, the bit where they perceive value, is in contacting the service desk. So this means that our service desk as a single point of communication is actually, well, it's a really, really important function. Function as a group of people and the tools that they use. So it's very important for us as service providers that we deliver value in that function and we deliver value with those people. So I want to touch on the skills that we need in the service desk and the skills of a service desk analyst. I want to talk about the processes that service desk analysts perform, and I also want to talk a little bit about the tools that can help the service desk analyst. So let's start off with the skills of a service desk analyst. Well, the first thought that comes to everybody's mind as a service provider, as a manager, is that they need technical skills. Do they? Do they really need technical skills? You see, technical skills can be learnt. But what a service desk analyst really needs is an ability to translate. It's an ability to empathize and to understand the dilemma and the issue that the user is having. What the service desk analyst really needs is the ability to communicate with the user in their own language. A service desk analyst will quite often act as a translator between the user and IT. The user will tell them something in their language, and it's up to the service desk analyst to translate that into something technical that could then be dealt with or picked up by second or third level support. And the service desk analyst then has to translate the response from second and third level support and give that back to the user. So a service desk analyst needs to have very, very good soft skills, interpersonal skills, communication skills. It's not just about the technical skills. It's actually, more importantly, about the interpersonal skills and that ability to translate and to talk to the user in their own language. Those soft skills are really important, and quite often when I'm in a classroom I will ask people to list the soft skills that are required, or just the skills that are required by a service desk analyst. And actually what we're not looking for, and what comes out of that exercise, is not a list of skills, but it's a list of qualities. Let's think about what the service desk analyst does for a moment. They do incident management. They have to not just log incidents and prioritize and then progress an incident and then close it, but they also have to be able to solve that incident. So therefore they do need some technical skills. They also will perform problem management. They will make the decision when to raise a problem. Unless, of course, the end user is asking why something happened, then we would raise a problem. But other than that, the service desk analyst makes the decision when to raise a problem. They manage request fulfillment. So they have the unenviable task of saying no sometimes to people who have asked for something that they shouldn't have or can't have for whatever reason. They will raise changes, and they also communicate the change schedule back to the users on a regular basis. They perform service level management. They do customer surveys on behalf of service level management. Oh, and with every single interaction with the users, they are verifying that the information that we have in our configuration management database and in our configuration management system is correct and is kept up to date and accurate. So they're performing service asset and configuration management too. They may also be performing release and deployment management, especially as part of request fulfillment. You know, can I have access to? Well, we may be performing some release and deployment management there. Oh, and that begs the other question, can I have access to? They may be performing some access management as well. The service desk is not just limited to incident management. The service desk undertake a lot of other processes. So yes, they have to have a technical bias. But as I've said, technical skills can be learned. So let's look at the tools that we can give a service desk analyst. Now I want you to bear in mind that nobody ever calls the service desk to say, hey, how are you? It's fantastic. Thank you so much for the services that you provide. I think you do a wonderful job. Okay, when was the last time you called the service desk to say that? Okay, well, let's face it, our users don't do that either. So a service desk analyst is dealing with negative interactions all day, throughout their entire shift, because users will call or will contact the service desk when something invariably goes wrong, or when they want help, or when they want advice, or when they want assistance. So they're dealing with negative interactions. So what tools can we give them to help? Well, we have call login tools, and with sophisticated call login tools, or what we call workflow process engines, we can ensure that the relationships exist between incidents and problems. Our call login tools can prompt with known errors whenever there is a known error in the known error database. Our call login tools can help to link perhaps request fulfillment into the service catalog, and also then into maybe purchasing systems as well. We also like to give our service desk tools such as call login systems, maybe the automated voice recognition systems and the call queuing systems. You know, press 1 for this and press 2 for that. You've got to be careful though when you're setting up those call queuing systems, because those call queuing systems tend to have a detrimental effect on the level of service and the value that you provide to your organization. How many layers do you want to go through before you finally get to speak to somebody? We've all been frustrated, haven't we? We've all picked up the phone and dialed a number to get one of those, press 1 for this and press 2 for that, and our hearts have sank, because you get that feeling that you're going to be stuck in this endless loop forever. Now just think if you're the service desk analyst and you've then got to pick up the phone after that. So be careful of what message you're sending to your users and to your organization, and manage the use of that call queuing system. We have some very, very good IVR systems, integrated voice recognition systems, which allows us then to take what's on the telephone and take the input and maybe even take the telephone number of a user and input it straight into our core login system, so that that information is available to our analysts when they pick up the phone. We also have, and which is used quite extensively by some organizations, the script, affectionately known as the dreaded script. We have got to ensure that when using a script on the service desk for our service desk analysts, that they have the flexibility to be able to use their own judgment and their own skills as well. You know yourself as a user when you are faced with a call and you have done a certain amount prior to calling the service desk. There is nothing more frustrating than being asked to do it all again. You can turn around and you can justify this, and I have, believe me, I have justified this myself to users and saying, well, you know, we need to make sure you've gone through the right steps, etc. But nevertheless, when you're the one calling the service desk, you are just as frustrated by it. Be careful with the use of scripts. There are a lot of organizations around the world that have had to readjust the way their service desks work because the use of scripts has given us such a bad customer survey result and such a bad customer satisfaction score that organizations have had to stop using them. Ultimately, there is nothing that will help your service desk more than management support and management commitment, and for those analysts to feel valued and to feel as though their input and their contribution to you as a service provider matters. Value your staff, and your staff will value their customers. We know that we have different structures in a service desk. We have the local, the on-site service desk, the centralized service desk in a central location, and we also have the virtual service desk and the follow the sun service desk, which could be at any location, remote to the organization. Whichever service desk structure you use, just remember that your service desk is a window to IT, and your service desk sets that perception of value that your users perceive. So value your service desk and ensure that whatever structure you choose and whatever skills you give your service desk, that they are actually delivering value to the organization. Now, if you have any questions about service desks, then please feel free to contact me at the email below, and the same with any questions that you may have about any other aspects of ITIL or customer service.